All right, my name is Dave from Black Leadership Analysis, and I wanted to talk to you about. Here we go. Revolutionaries versus reactionaries. So, I was watching this video by Urban XTV New York, a black dot, another big YouTuber, talking about the Colin Kaepernick situation. He was saying that Colin Kaepernick wasn't a revolutionary, especially after taking I think it was $10 million from Nike and signing a non-disclosure agreement and endorsing Nike products. And as you well know, Nike is as much a part of the NFL as any other company. I mean, all those companies work together. And the reason they gave him the endorsement was because he worked for the NFL. And then he ended up still getting money out of the NFL, going to court with that. So Black Dot's point was, a revolutionary back in the day understood there were consequences to what he did, and he accepted those consequences, and he separated himself from mainstream society and figured out other ways to make his living. And I really agree with Black Dot on that. I'm not disparaging what Colin Kaepernick did, but I don't put him on the same level as like a Malcolm X or a Dr. King either. I mean, really, Kaepernick was a guy who was black and he stood up for what he believed in at his job. And I think there's a lot of black people that do that every day. I mean, I think every black person at some point in their job, something got just too outrageous and they had to stand up and say something. But I don't see the kind of sustained effort with Kaepernick to really fight for his cause. I mean, I give him credit for helping Angela Davis or somebody, I think it was, an ex-Black Panther, former Black Panther, build a school and doing some charity. But, I mean, now that I know he signed with Nike, how do I know that Nike didn't help him with some of that money or give him some of that money? I mean, he has non-disclosure agreements with Nike. So, I mean, you got to question a lot of stuff now. So, but on a deeper note, between reactionaries and revolutionaries, I think one way that black people can stop being so reactionary as far as just seeing something online and throwing all their effort and energy behind it, just online and not really sustaining an effort to grow and fight for a cause, which is revolutionary. I think one of the main things that needs to be done is that everybody take time out to really study the greats, like the Kings and the Malcolm X's, and read their words on what they really said. Like this year, I'm spending a lot of time reading up on Dr. King. And I decided to read books that he actually wrote while he was alive and published himself. So there's 6 books: Strive Towards Freedom, Why We Can't Wait, All Labor Has Dignity. That was right after he died. Trumpeted Consciousness, Where Do We Go From Here? And there's another one I can't think of right now. But reading those books, I'm seeing how in-depth Dr. King's philosophy was and how well thought out his philosophy was. And I see a lot of people, especially in college, they would disparage King and Booker T. Washington like they were capitulators and were overly worried about trying to unite with white people. But in reality, I think both those guys understood that we have to move forward as a unit, that there's no one ethnic group that can separate completely and kind of like rebuild society. And I think it's really important that we understand what they actually said, and you can agree or disagree with it. But I think if people sat down and really took the time to really understand what they said, I think we have more informed conversations. And we also have better use of our time, not just posting online, but really getting out in the community and really getting involved in making change in the community. Same thing with Ambedkar, studying from Ambedkar. Ambedkar was an Indian untouchable, and he went to school in America. And he wrote the Indian Constitution, and he was a Buddhist, and I'm a Buddhist too. And I like reading him because it gives me a large context of what being the underprivileged class in society means, and how that means for how you can move, and how it means for how you see the world and understand things. And I consider Ambedkar a black leader, and I don't say black in that it's a way to it's a connection to Africa, because blackness to me isn't really about Africa. It's about having an underprivileged class in society, one of the lowest castes, because it's not really even about race, it's more about a class. And still from that position, being able to lead people and maneuver and do well in life. And if you understand yourself from that position, I consider somebody that understands himself from that position as black. So, I think I want to encourage people to really get out and study and reflect on what people did back in the day, and have a better understanding of what was said back then, so we can really move forward and really decide, once you have that understanding, look at your own life, how do I properly move in these scenarios going forward. So that's all I wanted to say.